West Orange. We're excited to be with you this midweek Wednesday, and this is episode 2. We will have our first guest this morning. She's already here in the studio here at on our campus, but she's really not a guest. She's one of our church members and also a co-minister, a part of our ministry team. And so we look forward to having that conversation here in a few moments. And we are kicking it. I am going to stick with that, guys. And so I actually looked up in the what for this idiom, the definition, and there's two definitions.
What?
Idiom.
Oh my bad.
Yeah. Number 1, to rid oneself of an addiction, especially to narcotics. I never thought I'd be able to give up heroin, but with the support of my friends and family, I finally kicked it. So that's one way, like I kicked the habit, whatever. But then the second one is to relax or pass time idly, to hang out. And that's how I mean it. We're kicking it. We're hanging out. Does that make sense?
The definitions make sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so just how about if each of you, just to start the show this morning, share something recently, something going on with you.
Okay. Well, Tori had her 17th birthday not too long ago. That was interesting. Doing a birthday where you're not doing all of the big celebrations that you're used to. So, of course, we didn't get to on the actual day, but it wasn't too much longer after that we were able to go out and do the big Red Lobster dinner that is our tradition. So that was awesome.
Yeah, excellent. What about you, Tim?
Well, since we last saw each other, Kayla and I have been to Houston and back. So as many our church family know, my mom passed away, and we got her house ready to sell, and then it is a closing, which is, as far as this is concerned, it's in another day or so, and we got the house emptied, and it didn't take as long as we thought, and we gave a lot of stuff away and sold a few things, and so part of that was interesting because my sister lives there as well. It's actually Katy, Texas, which is a suburb of Houston, and they one couple came in, and the lady had her mom with her, and they bought mom's old bedroom suit. And so as they were taking it, Jill, my sister, mentioned that we had some of mom's clothes, and they loved some of them. We had a lot of clothes, so we just gave them the clothes, and they were very appreciative and stuff. And then we, in the conversation, find out that she also likes to clean houses. And I say likes to because she literally likes to. She was really excited about it. And so my sister hired her, and then they came back, and the next day brought a friend who was wearing a dress I did not recognize, but it was actually one of my mom's old dresses, and it looked different than it would have looked on mom and all that. And so we started talking to her, and all these different people that we started meeting. My sister invited 3 different families to church with them, and they were pretty excited, though they can't go yet, but they have online services like we do, and so you never know. That may turn into something pretty amazing. So
that's phenomenal.
Yeah. It is.
But anyway, our trip went well. So
yeah, making those connections really
Yeah.
neat, and connecting people with the body of Christ is
Yep.
neat. When you were at the airport, you sent me a couple of pictures of the airport. Kind of describe that experience.
Well, we got to the airport. If you're familiar with the Orlando airport, not Sanford, but the big airport, Tucker, our son, drops us off. There's nobody there where the cars are normally piled up with horns honking and everybody trying to get through. We were the only car. We get out and we saw the Southwest desk, and that was the person. That's the only person we saw until we got to security. We were the only 2 people in security, and there was a TSA agent, and then we got in, and there was one person doing security at that time. And when we finally got to there was nobody on the tram. You ride that Disney thing to the terminal, and then we saw 11 people before we finally got to our gate in the entire airport. And then there were 26 people total on the plane. So,
well, the pictures I saw, you couldn't see anybody. No restaurants are open.
Starbucks was open.
Yeah.
Well, that's important.
Yeah, you can't shut down Starbucks. They were kicking it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, before Mother's Day, we had run out of stamps. Jamie had paid all the bills. We had more bills to pay. We also wanted to send Mother's Day cards to both of the grandmothers for Pearson and Cullen. And so for the first time, I had gone to the post office, and it was the same weird thing. You see plastic dropped everywhere of where you can't go. Like usually they have another station where you can purchase stamps if that's all you're doing. And not only do they have things lined off, but then they had like the carriers for the mail. They had those taped together in front of the desk, keeping you from there, not using the middle ones, so just the outward ones, and then plastic dropped in front of the two workers there, so you're not getting anywhere close to them. You just kind of slide the mail underneath. So again, just a weird. Everywhere you go, you start to just.
I know
it keeps hitting you.
Yeah, I wonder what. Even though I know eventually it'll all go to some other normalcy, whatever that'll become, but I wonder what'll not change after all this. But
yeah, definitely. So, all right, well, we're excited to have Christine here, and so we're going to bring her on set right now and continue our conversation this morning.
All right, Christine, I'm so glad that you're here today. Let's start with an easy question. I've got my tea again today. What do you have in your coffee cup?
So I have my reliable caramel cappuccino from Publix. I love this stuff. It's my favorite. There's some up on my desk right now for when I'm here during the week and I need a little pick-me-up.
there's like 3 less because I take those.
That's totally fine.
It's good to
They're there. Anyone can share them. Brian has the Keurig in his office, so you're more than welcome to use it.
I'll buy some.
But they're the
good at
best.
Okay, and what about, we discovered that we all have this love for the same breakfast cereal. What is your favorite?
So mine is a little different and unique. As a kid, we always had bran flakes in my house growing up because that's what my dad ate. And so as weird as it might be, I still will buy a box of bran flakes every so often from the store. And none of my kids will eat them. Corey doesn't eat them, so they're safe in the house. But it takes me back to my childhood. And so I really love bran flakes of all things.
I think that's pretty much the literal opposite of ours.
Yeah.
We all
If you were to
want all the
add
sugar.
4 cups of sugar, you'd have what we like. Yeah.
Well, you were talking about that was something from when you were a child, and you actually grew up here at West Orange.
I did. My family started coming to West Orange. I was 5. I had just finished kindergarten. So I have actually been here close to 25 years.
Wow, you must have seen all kinds of changes in that time. What are some of the major changes that you've noticed?
So, the biggest change is the building we're sitting in right now didn't exist when I came to West Orange. We actually met in the other building. That's a pretty big change. And I've seen this building when it first went up and then the expansion that we did. And then the faces have changed some. We have new people and some people have left, moved away, or maybe passed away. But we've grown a lot. It was a lot smaller when I first started. So that change is also really nice to see as we've gotten bigger as a congregation.
Is there anything that you would say that has stayed the same through all those years?
So I would say that the sense of family and the community that you get at West Orange has never really changed. That's what drew my parents here in the first place. It's why my family is still here today. And so that has been a constant my 25 years here at West Orange.
Now, your role has changed a little bit. What has that been like, stepping into the role of minister?
So that has actually been a really cool experience for me. Not everyone will know this, but we actually we were looking for a full-time children's minister several years ago now, about 8 years ago now. And I actually was getting ready to graduate college, and I thought, I have always loved working with kids. I've taught in classes. This might be really good for me. And I interviewed, and everyone, seemed to like me. It went really well, but it just didn't work out. And as most people know, we have a lot of kids in our house. And it just so happens that about a month after I interviewed for the position and found out that they were not going to offer me the job, Corey got custody of his siblings. And in all of that, working through that, we realized I would not have been able to have worked here full time and really put in, the effort and the time that it required and still transition to being like a mom and having 3 kids at our house and everything that looked like. And so it's really come full circle for me now. God still was preparing me. He knew exactly what was going to happen. Like, I was here and I started teaching here and I made the right relationships and was mentored here to really, I think, get to this point today. And I just needed to trust in his timing. So it's been really cool to see how maybe my plan was right. I just was trying to implement it a little earlier than God intended.
Well, you do a great job here. You're as First Connections and assistant children's minister with Angie. You do a great job. I don't know how you juggle it all. I love how that's still at. Usually, most nights it may be a little later, but you post something on Instagram of the kids' day and everything. So, how's that been going with social distancing and staying home?
So
and distance learning.
Yeah, it's been okay. The big kids are really great. They all take care of themselves. I don't have to stress about them too much. Faith is even almost finished with school because senior stuff is wrapping up. Carter has been a little bit more of a challenge. He misses his friends in his classroom and his teacher. And I am not her. And he actually reminded me of that this week. And I said, I know, buddy, I'm ready for you to see your teacher again, too. But so we've actually had a really good time. I was a little brave. I let Corey cut my hair last week because it had just gotten too long and too unruly. And I actually think he did a pretty good job. You can't tell that he cut it with just normal house scissors. So that was our fun little adventure in quarantine.
I've trimmed Pearson and Cullen's hair, but Jamie wouldn't let me.
No, we haven't done any of that at our house. We're not brave like that. You have to either be very brave or very trusting in order to let somebody mess with your hair.
Yes. I figured worst case scenario, I would put it up in a ponytail and it just would not come down until I could go to a salon to have it fixed.
Well, that's great. Do you have any hopes for the future to share with us?
Yes, so I am really excited about when, we can be back together. It's been great having this time. We've, as a staff, I feel like, brainstormed a lot of great things that I think would happen. I'm really excited for us to be able to spend time together again. I have some fun things that I think would be great to implement, not just for our children's ministry, but for our members and especially getting new members plugged in here at West Orange. So I'm looking forward to the day that we are back in the office and back together as a church family so we can start implementing some more togetherness, because I think we're all going to be craving a lot of it when we are finally able to do that again.
Yeah, I think everybody has cabin fever.
Yes, for sure.
Well, we really appreciate you joining us today, Christine. I think we all are ready to kind of get back into not just trying to figure out how to connect with people online, but just connect with each other again, like you said.
Yes.
So I know that we will spend some time talking to some of the other people on staff over the next few weeks and get to know them a little bit better than maybe you already did. But thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Bye, guys.